Right, the renewal of professional registration for engineers. I've had many requests to put a program like this together um, to assist the engineers with the renewal process. So here we go. My name is Johan Fitzgerald and I'll take you through the process and well, let's take it from there. First and foremost, and this is just background information, if you ever wondered how the whole story started, well, here's the deal. It was an integrated process, which basically means if you look to the far right, if you registered in 1971, it meant that you have to do your renewal in 2011 with 25 credits and 2016 with 25 credits as well. If you registered in the left column, let's say for instance 2002, which means in 2007 you had to renew with 5 credits, and then in 2012 with 25 again. It's just an illustration of how it started, and just for information's sake. Before we move further, this is an important note. ECSA sent out a communication to say that due to COVID, the 25 credits was reduced to 20 credits, which basically means that for that specific year, all of the credits were scrapped, which means that category 1, you didn't need the 1 credit, category 2, the 2, and in category 3, the 2 as well, which is your 5 credits. What this effectively means is just that instead of having 5 credits, compulsory credits in category 1, you only need 4. So the same then applies to the rest. I also inquired with ECSA to find out if the same will happen in 2021. Because remember, then we were also in lockdown, and there unfortunately no exemption. So it remains at 20 credits over your 5-year cycle. So bear that in mind for the people who fell within this in this range. Okay, now let's go through the categories. Category 1, which is your developmental activities. Now remember, this is a compulsory category, and I think this is where most of you battle with this category because of time spent out of the office training and going to these events. My advice to you is try every year to at least attend one workshop that's an hour long, a day long, to give you 1 credit. Remember, you on a normal cycle need to get a minimum of 5 credits in this category. There's no maximum, so you can get more than 5, but 5 is the minimum. Just make sure when you attend any event that it has been validated for CPD credits. It must at least have a validation number, and there must be credits to link to it. And insist on getting a certificate after you've attended the event, because you have to upload that as evidence that you've actually attended it. It's also interesting to note that lots of people think ECSA validates the material. They don't. It's usually your voluntary associations like SIC, IPET, SIE, the mechanicals. Those organizations have been seconded to do the validation on behalf of ECSA. After the event has been validated by them, then they send it through to ECSA, and it's usually the training providers that goes to the VAs and submit the material there for validation, and then the VA send it through to ECSA, which then captures it onto their database. Also, just a note, remember, if you fall in this cycle, you only need 4 credits in this one, not 5 as per usual. Category 2, here we've got an A and a B part. So it's your work-based activity. So for going to work, you get CPD credits. You get 1 credit for every 300 hours spent. You can get a maximum of 2 credits. And I note the maximum of 2 credits here for the 600 hours. There's no minimum, but you've got a maximum here. But all of you should be fine with that. It really takes, engineers work more than 1,000 hours a year. I've done the calculation, so you should be fine there. That's easy enough to obtain. Now, mentoring is a nice one. I think it's good to mentor, and I think it's good to plow back. So for every 50 hours, you get one CPD credit for mentoring candidates. Just note that you can only get a maximum of one credit here. So if you mentor for 100 hours, you still can only claim one. And make sure that you've got the evidence that you have, which I will talk to you about later. There must be some form of supporting documentations, which we'll get to in the upcoming slides. So that takes care of your category 2, A and B section. Now, category 3, also we've got an A and a B part. This is actually quite a nice one. So if you belong to any one of ECSA's recognized voluntary associations, and there's a whole list of them on the website, so you can go and have a look. Your common ones, your SAIC, SAIMEKI, SAIS, IPET, any one of those. If you belong to them, then you also get one CPD credit. So that's easy enough to obtain. And then the individual activities, lots of people get confused here. It's anything that you do over and above your normal work that makes you a better professional in some sense, way, or shape or form. So that could be, say for instance, you belong to IPET and or SAIC, and you serve on those committees, you can also claim credits for that. The rule of thumb here is 10 hours spent, one CPD credit. So that gives you a good indication. If you subscribe to industry magazines, then you also get credits for that. Informal training, lots of companies do informal training. They've got, Friday afternoon talks, and they tackle various technical issues. Those also count. If you lecture or you do presentations at conferences, or whatever the case might be, you can also claim for that. So there's actually quite a bit that you can do here. And here you've got a maximum of 3 credits that you claim. Most people that in this category can claim more than 3, the maximum of 3, but if you do more, you do more. You can add it, there's no problem with it. So that's your category A, category 3, A and B. So that's easy enough, and that's sorted. Now, the evidence that you need to submit for these various categories, it's also a common question that I get, and it gets quite confusing sometimes. But make it simple. ECSA is not interested in all the projects that you worked and how many hours you worked on that, so bear that in mind. In category 1, a letter from, not a letter, a certificate that you've attended that course, that's fine. You can submit that, that will suffice. If you subscribe to webinars, your subscription will be fine. Confirmation email that you actually subscribe to them. Any form or shape of evidence that you've attended, you submit that in category 1. Remember, it's a quality management system, so therefore, basically, it's just some form of proof that you've actually done that. So category 1, make sure you get your certificate or some form of confirmation that you've attended, later subscription, invoices even, that will be fine. Then category 2, your A/B side, a letter from your HR that you've been employed by the company, it's fine. If you run your own company, then the certified letter will also suffice, saying that you work for your own company and the hours that you've worked. So you don't really have to go into detail. The detail only comes in when you get audited, then they most probably will ask you for the evidence, which you should have on hand. It's really not a big issue. The B part from category 2B gets tricky because how do you prove that you've done the mentoring? My advice is always get a letter from your HR department stating that you've done mentoring. These are the candidates that you mentored, and you submit that. Done and dusted. If not, record of your training plan with the candidate will be fine. Some kind of minutes of the meetings that you've had will be fine. A workplace training plan will be fine. So that's good enough evidence to submit. Then category 3A and B. you usually get a certificate or some form of letter that says that you actually do belong to this voluntary association. So you submit that as evidence. The B part of that, if you subscribe to industry magazines, I think your subscription should be fine. I know your subscription should be fine. So any other documents, even if you do presentations at a lecture or a conference or whatever, ask them for a letter to say that that you've been there and you've done that specific presentation. There's usually attendance register if you do these Friday afternoon talks within your company. Once again, you can get a letter from your HR stating that you do this informal training. So anything that proves it, and don't labor this issue. Short and sweet letter, there you go. And that should be enough. When you get audited, then yeah, look, you can go into the detail, but that should, once again, shouldn't be a problem because you know you've done it. So those are the evidence that you need to submit. Good, let's have a look at the calculation. And this is actually an interesting one because everybody thinks that CPD is really such a big issue and it's so difficult and it's so difficult to achieve these credits. But let me illustrate to you quickly how easy it is. In category 1, just make sure that over a 5-year cycle, right, you obtain those 5 credits. In this case, it will be 4 because of the COVID issue. But the normal circumstances, make sure you get the 5. If you do 1 a year, it's 1 day out of the office, it's 1 training event that you go to and you're sorted. If you subscribe to 10 CPD validated webinars, then you're fine as well. And if you run out of time and you battle and you don't really get to it, then make sure that even in your last year that you go and attend a 5-day course to get your 5 CPD credits. So there's many ways around it. You just need to commit in some way to get those ones. That is the only big one, and that's the only one that you might battle a little bit with. But category A and B, that's really easy, man. Everybody goes to work. You've got your 2 credits per year. That's 10 credits already in the bag. So if you mentor another bonus, you get 1 credit per year, that's another 5. Now you're sitting on 15 already, right? Category 3A, if you belong to a voluntary association, so it's actually quite good that you do, you get another 5. You're on 20, so you only need 5 more. So you see where I'm going with this. In category 3B, all of these other activities that you do, and I know you do all of these other activities, you can claim a maximum of 3 per year, and there's another 15 in the bag. So what have you really done more hectic or made your life a little bit more miserable? Not much. They've got 39 credits, you only need 25 on a normal cycle and 20 in this one. So it's really easy enough. It's just as that category 1. So get that out of the way. The rest of the stuff you've got already, right? And remember to keep a record of all of these so that you can submit it and upload it to the website. I also get this question from lots of the retired engineers. Most of them are consulting sort of back to the companies in some shape or form. And so are they exempt or aren't they exempt? Well, if you are Nexus database as retired, then you don't have to. But if you still carry on part-time work within the limitations of the 300 hours, then you're not exempt. You still have to do CPD credit, but you only need 1 credit per year, right? So basically what it says here is that you're exempt from category 1, so you don't have to do category 1 activities, but at least in the other 2 categories, you still have to do and earn credits in those ones. So there you see, if you return to active duty again, then you must at least have 3 credits that you can illustrate to get back into the cycle. And if you're not sure about it, you can ask or contact ECSA to see where you stand if you decide to go back in again. So you can read through this and you'll see what I mean by it. But basically it means that you're exempt from most of it. Good, now let's talk about the renewal process. Now, you've got two ways of doing this. The first one is the paper trail, the paper-driven one, the one that you complete yourself and you submit that back to ECSA. Your second one is you can log on to the website and you can complete your renewal process there. Now, the first option at this point in time, due to the issues that we have with ECSA's CPD portal, was probably at this point in time the best way to go. There's a clause that says 30 days prior to your renewal, you need to submit the application for renewal of professional registration. I'll show you that document just now. You complete that certified and you send it off to ECSA. And then you've also got, I think it's 30 days after your renewal date, you still have to submit then the ECPD1 form. Now, ECPD1 form is, and I'll show you that now as well. It's literally just a document on the activities that you've done that you submit to ECSA, but I'll take you through that. The same process works with the online website. You log in, you capture all your activities there. Now, note, you can't submit your application for renewal on the portal. I've inquired ECSA and I said to them, can we do that? And they said no. Due to the issues that they have, rather complete the application for renewal and send it to ECSA directly. So let's have a look at the process. Right, here's a document. This is a renewal form that you need to complete. Everybody needs to complete that 30 days prior, but man, if you submit it, on the date as well, I don't think there will be a massive problem. I've just taken some screen grabs of it, and as you can see, it's just your normal information, your address, your qualifications, your VAs that you belong to, your criminal record. No, not really. It's just a record of ethical behavior, that's a disclosure if you like. Remember, you have to certify every single document, and the Commission of Oath stamp needs to go in there. So that's what that form looks like. Everybody needs to do it. You need to submit it. Try and do it prior to your renewal cycle. Just one note here, keep a record of everything. Trust me, I've seen documents disappear and disputes happen by, yeah, but I've submitted, here's approved, yeah, well, sorry for you, we haven't received it, and now you'll be deregistered, and now you have to pay again and again, and you have to do all these wonderful stuff, so rather play it safe. Good, the manual process. Here's the ECPD1 form that I was talking about. Very simple form to complete. As you can see, your your information goes in here. Remember the date and the month of your renewal cycle. And here you go, category 1. So what did you do in category 1? Follow this arrow here on the left. On this date, I attended the FIDIC contracts course. The provider was SAISI or wherever. The validation number of, that's why I said earlier, make sure you get that validation number. Validation number goes in there. It was a 3-day event, so 3 credits. You add that up to that one. Now, you can do this every single year, complete a paper trail, or what I do in most cases is I document the 5-year cycle in this specific one. So there's only one document that goes to ECSA, but it's got all of the information on here over that 5-year cycle. So it's your choice. You can choose how to you do that. But as you can see, it's very simple, very straightforward. Now, page 2 of this document, category 2, work-based activities. Also very simple, your ABIT, engineering-related work. I worked on from this date to that date within your cycle. I claim 600 hours. The company that I work for, company name goes in there. I claim my 2 credits for it. Once again, you can do it per year, or you can do all 5 years down here. Category B, your mentoring. I'm entered from that date to that date. I claim my 50 hours. You list the names of the candidates that you have mentored. claim your credits and you add them all up, which will give you your subtotal here. Page 3 of the manual process. There you go, category 3, category 3A, membership of a ECSA recognized voluntary association. So there you put in SAICI, SAIMECI, IPEC, whoever. Your grade of membership, I usually just put in member. I know there are different grades, so you can put in whether you're executive or whatever grade you're in. Your membership number, and you claim your 1 credit. If it's a 5-year cycle, it's not going to be 1, it's going to be 5. So your B part, your individual activities, and that's all the other stuff that you do. So here you go, on this date, I spend 10 hours on in-house training on leadership during that period of time. 10 hours gives you 1 credit, so you put it in there. So you add all of those up, and then here at the bottom you put in the full total of all of the credits over that period of time, sign, date, seal it, and you send it off to ECSA. Good. Now, if you choose to do the electronic way, then obviously go to ECSA's website and go to CPD and you go to the self-service portal. Now, for the first-time users, you'll see there's 2 buttons there, sign in or register. So, if you haven't been on here before and you sign in with your, or try and sign in with your registration number and your password, ain't going to happen, it will throw you out. You first have to do the registration. So, in the next slides, I'll take you through that, but first let's just have a look at if you should go to sign in. Right, if you're already on the system, then you click on the sign in, you've got a username, you've got a password, you might wonder, where did I get the username and password from? You have to register first, and then you have to redeem your invitation. So in the next slide, I will show you how to do that. Here we go. So first time users, you click on register, you complete all of this information in here, which is not a lot. Then this is now what's going to happen. They will send you a confirmation email that you've registered on the portal. You need to then go and redeem it. In the next slide you'll see what I mean with that. So you have to register first. Then ECSA sends you a confirmation that you've been registered. Then they send you out a link to take you back to the site where you redeem the link or redeem the code. And only after you've done that, you will have access to sign in and capture your CPD points or activities. This is the slide where I'm in. If you go back into it again, it should hyperlink you to this place. It's redeem your invitation, put in your invitation code, you register, and you're done and dusted. Now you might ask yourself, okay, I've got a bit of a problem here, so what do I do? Well, best thing is call me, email me, then we'll do analysis on your profile and see how we can fix it and what we can do with it. Now I'm just going to park here for a few seconds. The first one is that, by the way, in category 1, you can also attend overseas events and conferences and submit a document to ECSA asking them to validate that overseas event that you've attended. It's a short little bit that you have to put in to motivate why it should be validated. I forgot to mention it earlier, but there you have it. So those ones also count. Just make sure you complete that form and send it through. Currently, the CPD online portal is giving lots of problems. Some of the problems that we encountered is that if you add an activity, you can't really delete it. You have to go and ask them to delete it for you. If you've submitted evidence and it's wrong evidence, then you also can't delete it. You need to ask ECSA to delete that. You can't do your application for renewal by submitting it on the site, so that's also a problem. So I'm not being negative here, these are the facts. The portal is not working the way that it should. There are some serious issues with it. I usually advise people, if you're not in the mood and you don't want to go through the schlep of doing it on the portal, then do it manually. Complete that form and submit it. And when you submit that form, you don't have to submit any supporting documents. You just submit that, the ECPD1 form. The evidence that they will require, they will only require that when they do an audit on you. So bear that in mind. That's important to note. So we've got these challenges, but I believe ECSA is in the process of fixing it. I believe they're going to send out a request for quotation on somebody to fix. I think it's from the website all the way through to the portal. So, but let's see what happens. There's lots of websites that you can go to and also get your CPD credits from. There's also a website called Professional CPD where we try and keep the cost as low as possible and add as many programs, CPD validated programs and non-validated ones for information, and you can also add to that website. The link will be on the page when I upload this material. So if there's any questions or you battle with anything, please feel free to give me a call and I'll take you through it. There's also lots of engineers that work not overseas necessarily, but mostly in Africa, and they do not have access to training or getting that required points in credits in category 1. I've had many cases like that. You can draft a letter to ECSA asking them to exempt you from category 1 during that period of time. So there are ways around it. If you're really stuck, then that's one way of doing it. So come in renewal cycle, you submit a letter with the application for renewal. They will then review it and come back to you and say, okay, look, we do understand, so it's fine, let's move on to the next cycle. So there you go. Thank you for your time.